Now this is the second video in the Morpheus ball throw tutorial, and one thing that I actually meant to do in the last video was make a couple of adjustments to the rig. I've got some rig notes here, and the IK control actually comes in by default parented to Morpheus's shoulders, and that means that if you try and animate Morpheus's shoulders, you'll automatically animate the IK controls on the hand, and we don't really want that to happen. So we need to adjust the hand IK controls and change the value to world, not to shoulders. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So that's on Morpheus's right hand here, and we want that set to 1 there, and then the hand moved down into place. Well, actually, we can just move the ball up towards the hand. That's also fine. And then let's go to Morpheus's shoulders and adjust those. Actually, what we want is the IK control. And here we go. Here's the parent in the channel box here is currently set to shoulder, so what we want to do is set that to world. And now the shoulders will not affect the hand control. This is slightly irritating stuff, but all rigs come with slight quirks, and it's no matter how perfect you make a rig, you're always going to find a few odd things about it, and Morpheus does have a couple of quirks there. So we also want to check the pole vector controls in the same way. So I'm going to check this one and do the same thing, set that to world as well. Actually, I'll just move that slightly out of the way. This is only for the right hand, because it's only the right hand that we're going to set to IK. The left hand will just animate in the usual way using the normal FK controls like this, because this hand is not actually going to be doing anything particularly interesting. It's just following the body. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we now want to attach this ball to the hand, and you can see I've launched the parent master script there, which was under the parent master tab, and I just clicked on PM there. Now, if you haven't loaded up the parent master, there's a technical video showing you how to do that, so go ahead and load the parent master into your shot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the ball. You have to make sure that select surface objects is turned on here, and then I'm going to, holding down the shift key, I'm going to select the hand control. I'm not going to parent it to the IK control, I'm going to parent it to the hand control, because that should in theory be more efficient. And now I'm going to use the parent master to attach it there. Now that actually gives me an error message, but I think that should work. If I now select the IK control and move it around, that should be fine. Now if we want to find the constraint, we select the ball and then click on this button here, the button that's second from the bottom, and that will actually show us the constraint in the graph editor down here, so we can actually control it later on using that. So for now, the ball is parented to Morpheus's hand, and I'm going to go ahead and set a keyframe there at frame 1. So we now have a ball attached to a hand, and assuming that that works all right, oh, that seems to be fine, I'm now going to go ahead and save my work again. As always, save anytime you get to a point where you're happy with what you've done, because you never know when you might need to revert to it later on. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find myself a set. So I'm going to go to www.turbosquid.com, a website that you're already familiar with, and I'm going to enter the keyword stadium and see if I can't pull up some kind of free set that I can use. Okay, so there's quite a bit of free stuff here. All sorts of places where, in theory, Morpheus could be throwing a ball. Here's a free stadium. These are probably rather low res, these things, but you can always tweak them yourself. This one is an OBJ. We can use OBJs, that's fine. And you can also download 3D Studio Max and export anything as an FBX or an OBJ file. If I just click on compatibility on Maya here, that should narrow these down to things that are just compatible in Maya. You can also buy Stadia. There's probably stuff here on sale for relatively modest fees. But this one looks pretty good, and I think I will import a set just so that I've got some kind of context for my shot. So I've navigated here to my sets folder. That's on my desktop, Alex Teaching Asset Sets, and I'm just going to import a street here, which I think is a set that you've seen before, perhaps a little bit unimaginative, but I think it'll work fine for what we're doing here. And in fact, Morpheus comes in almost exactly the right size, which is excellent. Now, if I select, let me go to my outliner, see what I've got here. So if I select the street and lower it a little bit so that Morpheus is actually standing on it, and I think I'm going to rotate it as well. So let's go to the rotate button, and I'm going to hold down the J key so that I snap to the grid. Whoops. And now, okay, not quite snapped. There we go. And now I'm going to move the whole thing so that Morpheus is standing more obviously in the street. Okay. And now I'm going to zoom in and see what that looks like. Okay, so now Morpheus is basically standing in a city street and he's throwing a ball. So the next thing I'm going to do is create a camera. So go to Create Cameras Camera, double click on that, call it Shot Camera, and then go to Panels, Look Through Selectors, that's what we want. Now zoom out. And let's set this up so that we have something like what we just created. Okay, so Morpheus is standing in a street, and that's our camera. And I'm now going to, having done that, I'm going to lock that camera off, drag select the Translate and Rotate, go to right click, Lock Selected, turn on the film gate, and now we've got Morpheus standing in the street about to throw a ball. And now the next thing to do is to go to our saved layout, which is our animation layout there. So we've got in the right hand side, just press 6 there on the keyboard to get to textured mode. We've got our shot camera, and on the left hand side we want our perspective view. I'm going to hit 6 again so we go to textured mode, and beneath us is the graph editor. And once again, having done that, I'm going to go ahead and save it. Save scene as. Oh, I'm not, because I'm navigated to my assets folder, I'm now no longer set in the correct place. So I'm going to set my project again, File, Set Project, Ball Throw, Set, and now save it, File, Save Scene As, Ball Throw version 4. Okay, and in the next video, we'll start to pose Morpheus out.